Hello, and welcome to another Woke Wednesday. I'm Luke Keys, and today we'll be talking about a topic that many people have asked me about, and it is very complicated and hard to understand below the surface. What is white privilege? Before I discuss this topic, I want to talk about what white privilege is not. White privilege is not an attack on white people. Just because you are white doesn't mean you experience every aspect of white privilege. And just because you are white does not mean that you have had an easy life. White privilege stems from the ideals of white supremacy. Less than 200 years ago, whites believed themselves to be so superior to blacks that they treated them less than human. Less than 70 years ago, whites believed themselves to be so superior that they treated blacks as second-class citizens. These were law. Today, we no longer see these laws which discriminate based on color. But whether you realize it or not, they still continue to affect our country, and they still continue to impact everyone and how we interact today. I will be discussing two aspects of white privilege. The first, generational wealth. Although this does not apply to all white people, it does apply to a lot more than you might think. The grandparents of most blacks in America were socially and legally not able to establish businesses when they were growing up. Almost 100% of all businesses until recently were owned only by white people in America. This has created a generational wealth. This generational wealth has been passed down into the families that live in our country today. But you may have indirectly been affected by this generational wealth. In our country, we live in hyper-segregated communities. This means that the rich, wealthy white people that have lived in the communities previously also live with other white people. Therefore, you may have indirectly received some benefits from this wealth, whether it is job connection, living in a neighborhood with a good educational system. You might not realize how generational wealth affects you. The second aspect of white privilege doesn't affect white people, but it affects black people every time they leave their house. When I was a child, I received the talk, the birds and the bees. When a black child receives the talk, it's not about the birds and the bees. It's about how not to get shot by cops and how to act around white people so that you come home safe. White privilege is most dangerous in the mind. You see, growing up in America as a black child, you see so many things that make you think white supremacy is real. Whether it's seeing Rodney King be beaten, or looking at rich white families in nice neighborhoods, or you're watching the TV and you constantly see black people being arrested. These things contribute to this mindset. When I get pulled over, I think, I'm sure I could talk my way out of this, or, I might know somebody. I might even know the cop. I bet you I'll get out of this ticket. Now when my brother, Trey, an African American, gets pulled over, he thinks, oh gosh, what do I need to do so I don't get shot? A lot of you may be thinking, well, I didn't choose to be white. But if you choose to be silent about this issue, you're choosing to hurt the people that I love.